Scientology versus God. Mind control versus free will. Guys, that phrase just came to my mind literally the second before I decided to start filming. And somehow I just know this video is about to be nuts, right? So listen to this, right? I've just come back from America, New York City, where I went into the Church of Scientology. The Church of Scientology. Now, I have been talking a lot about Scientology on my YouTube channel, and I didn't expect to do it. Neither did I. Did I? No, yeah, actually, yeah. I didn't expect to get so deep into this. I never expected to be in this position in my life. And just as it happens, so many things have just come together where I am the kind of person who, has a background in Christianity. I know a lot about God. I know a lot about the entertainment industry. I know a lot about the world. I'm walking into the Church of Scientology, one of the biggest religions in the world. And I have already figured out that this thing is a scam. And so I'm just trying to understand, how do people know? Like, how do people get caught up in this? That's really what I've been obsessing over studying. If you guys are on my channel, this is what I've been obsessing over. I've been obsessing over, like, what is it about Scientology that's got people in such a chokehold, right? And this is what led me to compare the difference between what I feel like Scientology does versus what God does, because I know what God does. I just had a revelation about something that God does, because I had asked God a question. As some of you guys will know, I said, God, why do you leave me in the world unsupervised? Now, the reason why I said that is because God, as my father, who I do believe is my father, who guides me in life, I'm like, if he tells me what to do, I'm going to do it. And it always works out for the best and better than everybody else. But for some reason, he lets me make my own wrong decisions anyway. And then I realized that's because I serve a God of free will. So this whole situation that I'm going through is because I actually have a choice, because I'm actually in control. I have freedom. I have free will. So because of my free will, I can actually do whatever I want. Regardless of what God says, I can do anything I want. And anybody who's been on my channel knows that this has been horrifying me for about a year now, right? On the Scientology side of things, though, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is mind control. And now that I've spoken to a few of the different types of people in Scientology, right? I'm going to upload the footage, by the way, guys, somehow. I can't work out how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it somehow. When I'm talking to all these different people, the different levels of Scientology, because now I've spoken to a few, I've done some independent research myself, I've studied literature myself, I've watched interviews, I've already looked into the entertainment industry. I just want to wait to do that as the finishing blow of this whole thing, is when I get to the entertainment industry. So everybody wait for that, okay? And media and sports, actually, but we'll come back to that. I've been listening to people of all the different levels of the belief system, right? Whatever, or not a belief, sorry, it's not a being, it's a doing, okay? So you see, let me use the correct terminologies I've been told multiple times in person by people of various levels in Scientology. So my point is, I now have the opportunity to kind of like look at the situation and understand how they go about what they're doing, because I know exactly what it is that they are actually doing. I know what they're actually doing. I'm studying it. I've understood it. And that's why I'm confused as to how are people into this thing? Like, how does this huge organization have such a chokehold on humanity right now, on the world? So fascinated, and they've managed to go through all of these different bits, all of these different loopholes of society, right? They're not a religion, they're a religion of religions. You can be Christian and Scientology, and you can do Islam and Scientology, you can be a doctor and be in Scientology, and all these things, right? They don't fit into any one box. They're just everybody's anything and everything, right? Which makes them the perfect thing to control you. So that's what they do. They bring you in. Obviously, the truth is that as humans, us left unsupervised isn't a good thing, right? It isn't a good thing. But while free will is something that God gives to us because it's part of being a human, it's part of humanness, is that you have free will, that you make your own choices, that your mind is not being controlled, right? Your mind is not being controlled. Even in the Bible, it doesn't talk about mind control. It says being transformed. You will be transformed in the renewing of your mind, right? The renewing of your mind. According to Scientology, you need to remove your reactive mind, the mind that has all these bad past traumas and whatever, whatever that you need to remove that are preventing you from being your best self, right? But actually incorrect from the way that they're doing, because all they're doing is they're using something that makes sense, even in a biblical sense. Yet there are probably things that have happened, or experiences, or lack of information that you have that means you're not living your best life. And if you had that information, then you'd be able to do it. Hey, we've got a perfect way to basically say we're anything that you want. We are whatever you want us to be, right? Like, this is how, like, if if modern day people in relationships, right, if they were to be like Scientology, people would be getting into relationships. Like, we wouldn't be having all these issues as men and women if we were all going around like how Scientology is like, I am whatever you want me to be, like whoever you want me to be, whatever, because that's what they are doing. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to make a point about how serious this is, right? And so they are literally like, it's almost like the perfect way of the kingdom of darkness to get every single pathway to hell to go in the same direction. And that's like the ending point. Like, this is something that just encompasses everything. And so as I'm talking to these people, right, I'm talking to all these people in Scientology, and I'm realizing that everything that they're doing is they're attempting to gain control. So as I'm talking, like as I'm explaining my life, whether I'm explaining my actual life or I'm explaining my not actual life. So the one that the personality test that I tried when I was in Edinburgh, I answered every single question 100%, like, well, not really honestly, but like I tried to answer them like honestly, if that makes sense. So that what would happen is my results would be like if I was actually being vetted. And my plan was, I'm going to also do the same thing when I haven't actually written the right answers, because I just want to see how it changes, because I'm a scientist, right? And then I also want to see what Scientology has to say about what God has to say. Because do you guys see how insane I am? I'm actually insane in the brain. Like, I'm actually like, I want to see what you have to say to see how it compares to what God has to say. And it immediately made me realize how people get caught up in this. Because I was like, if I didn't have God in my life, if I didn't have the actual truth and the real life answers, then I would get sucked up in this. Anyone and everyone can get sucked up in this. And that's all they're doing, is focusing on doing it. You know why? Because they're controlling what you think. They're purposefully controlling what you think from the moment you come there. No, this isn't a belief. This isn't a being. It is a doing. We start using a different form of language altogether, right? Because to describe what we're doing. And bit by bit, we're reprogramming. We're being reprogrammed, guys. Think about it. Because all these words that they use, it sounds like programming. They literally say they put you through what they call it processing, right? Where you get audited, right? So you get audited to remove, these thetans and whatever. These are like, it's programming. We need to put you through these programs. They've got a program for everything. When I could see the full catalog in New York City, I was like, I've got it here. I've got it here. I've got it here, guys. I've got it. And it was nuts. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, you guys have literally covered every, like, it's the perfect type of thing for the devil to use. Like, that's what I was thinking. It's the perfect, the perfect lie. It's like the perfect lie. Scientology is literally like the perfect lie, because then when you get into it, it's just programming. It's just getting you to be a certain person. Learn this, learn this, learn this, learn this. We'll show you this. You need to, you're having this happen. That's because of this. You're being told everything. There's no sense of intuition. There's no sense of you have no, if you think about it, right? Because this is how I look at it when I compare people, and I always compare the gods. Okay. I always compare the gods, because I'm like, that should be where we're looking at. So I'm comparing God, and I'm comparing L. Ron Hubbard and God, right? Because L. Ron Hubbard is the God, to be honest, guys. He is the God. L. Ron Hubbard is the God of Scientology. That's the truth. If we want to call a spade, as the saying goes, L. Ron Hubbard is the God, okay? Then I'm looking at actual God, and I'm looking at the difference between the two, because I was thinking about the difference between, I always think about the difference between my God and everybody else's gods that they talk about. And I look into their gods. That's why when I'm looking down into some of these gods, some of these Beyoncés and the next thing, I'm like, I seen your gods and I ain't finna get up and all of that. But if that's for you, hon, if that's for you over there, like, go do you, sis, but not for me. As for me in my house, we serve the Lord. You feel me? So, it's just really funny to me. But anyways, what was I even saying? See, I'm getting distracted. Scientology is like the perfect lie, right? So like, what was I saying, guys? What was I actually saying? So the gods in Scientology, It's about mind control. I have to tell you what you think. I have to tell you how to get to where you want to get to. I'm telling you that this is a completely free experience, that you as a person should be left to your freest abilities in life to do whatever it is that you want to do. And the only reason you're not is because you're currently being encased by something only we have the answer and the ways in order for you to remove, so that you can do all of that in, being whoever you're supposed to be and being this so-called good with evil added human, as L. Ron Hubbard would suggest. And what that turns into is a sense of like slavery, because that means if you're not in that process, or they're not doing that with you, or if you don't have that, or if you don't stay in that, then you're screwed. You can't go out there freely. That's what they're telling you, right? But in reality, in the God thing over here, I like how God has stuff over here, because with God, it's like, you go do whatever you want. I'm just going to tell you the truth. This is the truth. I didn't tell you what to do. This is the truth. I ain't begging you for it. This is what you have to do. I'm happy to guide you. True wisdom is to follow this, follow me. I love you. I created this world for you. Like, it's thriving. You guys messed up. Because this is the other thing that I like about God. God tells us what goes wrong. My God tells us what went wrong with us as humans. So how do you mean to tell me that somebody's going to be like following Scientology and there was just a random moment where we as humans did something wrong? What the hell did we do wrong? Is what I want to know. L. Ron Hubbard, what the hell did we do wrong that started all of this mishmash into whatever we're in now? Because I don't like the fact that I don't have that information. And this is another reason why I love God, because God gives me the information. Like, I asked God all the questions. I asked the science. I asked him. The reason I got to the answer of the question of entropy for the Garden of Eden, I was like, God, when did entropy start? I asked God that question. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, God is always answering in science. Hello, L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah, some of us also do science as well, darling. It's so funny how much my life and his life overlap. Like, I think he did like, what was it that he did? I think he did chemistry, something. Like, he was a scientist, and he was just, I was just like, you know what, Lord? And then the funny thing is, right, and that's what I realized, is that I look at the difference to how they observe people, right? Because God looks at us with love, and he looks at us nurturing. Like, he looks at us, he wants us to thrive and survive. He just wants to have a relationship with us. Like, he's like a proper, like, he's like a family man. Like, God is like a proper family man. He's just like, I just want to have you, my children, and like, let's just have our relationship again and just take down these buffoons. Like, let's just get rid of the ops. Like, can we just like get rid of the ops already? Like, that's God. L. Ron Hubbard, on the other hand, is like observing humanity and consistently adding ways to gain control over humans' brains. Can you see how different of kingdoms we're dealing with here? Can you guys understand the depths of the kingdoms, the depths of the kingdom in heaven and darkness? This is exactly what I'm talking about. You have God, who is a complete and total and utter father, like, loves his children, loves his family, right? He loves us. He leaves us. I was even saying to you guys, I was like, I ask God all the time, why does he leave me out in the world unsupervised? Because that's the kind of God he is. He's the kind of God that would risk his own reputation. He would allow me to misrepresent him today or tomorrow and to whatever, just if it means that I will come back to him in 10 days later. God will risk, and the world will see it. He cares more about the relationship with his children than he even cares about his reputation, than he even cares about anything else. And that, to me, is an insane amount of love to have. As a God, that is love, for goodness sake. Because God is the greatest gangster of all time. He's the best at everything. He's the best at writing. He's the best at music. He's the best at science. Science only 23 years ago had got to the mapping of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. What we're now building, like all these mRNAs and all this off of that technology that's 23 years old, 23 years ago is when we first even started talking about that. And now all of a sudden I'm not buying it, you guys. God has listen. And then so much of science anyway has so many of these godly, miraculous moments, like the amount of pain women endure through pregnancy, the light that goes off when a baby is born, like, or a baby is conceived in the womb, all these types of things. Like, that's beautiful over there. Let's go back to Scientology. Over here. Well, you're still struggling? Well, it's because there's more thetans in your reactive mind. There's more things in your reactive mind. What is going on, guys? What's going on? And then guess what that does to you? That destroys you. Because it's like the perfect thing that the enemy does to destroy us as humans is to control us and always make us feel like doing that. Like that process of figuring this out on our own, figuring that out on our own, this, because he knows that when God said that the wages of sin is death, it meant that there will never be any amount of effort or knowledge or pursuit of knowledge or like study or sitting on the mountains in ayahuasca that's going to get you anywhere in life other than truly to follow God, like in this lifetime. And as a father, right, not know like, oh, we're going to remove, you have to have leadership. You have to have a leader. There has to be a God over you. There has to be a God over you. And that's when one of the things that hit me with the Scientology, I was like, oh yeah. And we have what is it they say? Oh yeah, I learned this in New York. The 8 dynamics, right? So the furthest one being like where we have the infinity, and then you guys should have seen it on the TV screen. There was this like cute, like one of these old school, like infinity looking thingies. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I felt like I was living a movie. I was like, how can I keep myself together when I know why I'm here? Guys, it was so hard not to laugh. When they had the little like videos and then they'd have like, they're like, here at Scientology, we know that we talk about the 8-tone, what is it called? The tone scale. The tone scale is a way for you to understand what people mean when they're talking to you, and for you to find the best way to respond to people. And that was the one that made me realize it was mind control. Because what they were essentially saying is they were teaching you the art of witchcraft, of manipulation, right? They're telling you, if you speak in this type of tone, in this type of way, then you doing this, you'll get this out of the other person. If you notice that person doing this, and this is what's happening. Because we've studied human behavior so well that we can literally tell you exactly how to like manipulate somebody else. It's like Sims. Like they're turning us into Sims. Do you know what I'm saying? You can literally be playing Sims, and that's essentially what they're saying. Do you see what I'm saying? And as I was noticing this, I was like, this is the manipulation. This is the mind control. Because as soon as that, it made me realize that even the people I'm speaking to, I'm now going over like how I come across and how that seems in the tone scale, and seeing if they're doing back to me what their own tone scale thing was saying they were supposed to do. Yeah, guys, I'm a proper scientist. Okay, just run with me. And I realized they were all following the tactics. Like they're like robots. They're like literal robots, like robotics. They're like machines, literally machines that are just ready to, they know what they do. And I asked the lady, I was like, how long have you been doing this for? She's like, 40 years. I was like, 40 years? How have you been doing this for 40 years? And then she's like, I don't know, this is just what I do. And then I was like, and then she says in the beginning that she starts following it just because it made sense. It made sense. And this is what really got me about Scientology, and what I hear about a lot of people with religions in general, is I think to myself, like, again, it goes back to the reliance on human understanding. That's the flaw we have, guys. That's the flaw of humanity. The reliance on human understanding. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, read your Bibles. Read the first 5 chapters. Read the first 3 chapters of the Bible, for goodness sake. Everybody can do that. Everybody in the world can read the first 3 freaking chapters of the Bible. I don't care if you haven't read the rest of the Bible. You've read enough. Right? The problem is us in our own human understanding. So when you have Scientology trying to tell you, oh, you've got it inside of you, we just need to bring it out of you. That is always what the devil has. Because you know what the devil did? God created the devil. Look what the devil went and found inside of himself. Look what why do you think the Bible says we need to be born again? Why does it say that we have to have a transformed mind? Because that's what's inside of humanity, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Our own silly ideas that lead us to our own damnation, to lead us down our own path. And the only way we got there is because God actually gave us free will. Do you see what I'm saying? So us going back to trying to think that that's a good thing for us to misuse, that we just get to run around and like we're being restricted because of this. If not, you would just do whatever you needed to do. L. Ron Hubbard sees himself in his past life as Cecil Rhodes. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. And I don't know about if I want to worship a God that's like that either. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be mind control. I like that God lets us do what we're doing. God leaves me and lets me out in the world unsupervised because he's God. And because he loves us and he wants to look after us. And because he's a good parent as well. Because you know what? I was thinking about how God, like in him allowing us to just be out in the world, it's kind of like how he nurtures us, you know, like how we nurture plants, and how And plants are growing, like you have to let them at some point like grow in the direction that they're growing and grow freely, organically, right? But at the same time, you have to tend to the plants. This is what Adam was doing in the freaking garden, man. This is so cool. Can I just say? I think Adam is the freaking coolest, okay? Anyway, imagine God just waking up and then God's like, hi, here's the whole world. Yeah, all you got to do is just tend to the garden and yeah, it's all you, man. You got this. Yeah. Peace. Like, how cool would that be, right? Anyway, so we're tending to God, he tends to us like to gardens, right? And obviously, there we go. That's God was teaching Adam wisdom right then and there. Boom. Right in the beginning, God was even teaching Adam wisdom. It's like, this is how you tend to a garden. Imagine. And then Adam is the one who named all the creatures, which I just think is so cool. Who's L. Ron Hubbard naming what? Who else is other than L. Ron Hubbard in the Scientology? Tell me. Because in the Bible, can I tell you how many Bible characters there are? Can I tell you how many people? L. Ron Hubbard is the only voice that we're hearing from as well. Let's talk about that for a second as well. Let's just talk about that for a second as well. It goes back to my thoughts. It goes back to communism. Let's talk about communism, because guess what? God isn't communistic. He isn't. Sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to tell you that, because he's not. Because that is, again, control. There's one person sitting on top controlling everything. Now, the only communist government I will live under is Jesus Christ. If Jesus Christ was to be the president or the king of the world, I will 100% live as communist with Jesus. But that's what you get in the kingdom of God anyway. That's the point, ladies and gentlemen, is it's not about control with God. He's not trying to control us. He's trying to, in love, put us on the right path. You know what I'm saying? Let us have our own experience. And guys, think about this. Let's be honest. I want to have a real life, real human moment with you guys, right? Isn't there just something so human about being human? Sometimes it's actually nice. Like sometimes it's actually nice. I don't know if this sounds crazy. I feel like I sound like a Looney Tune. Isn't it sometimes so just nice and like humanly nice in a way to do things that you don't know the results of? You know what I'm saying? Like take risks. Isn't it so fun to take risks sometime and learn? And a lot of times in life, in our journeys, in our purpose, and this is where, again, it goes to what I have an issue with Scientology, which is that in Scientology, it's very much about you're being told what you want to do and what you need to do and how you should do it. And there is no choice element. You're just a follower. Right? With God, there is choice. There's like, even when I know that I'm going to do something that God said I should do, and I know I'm doing it, there's the reality that I actually could have said no, and I actually could have not done it. Right? And that's what actually makes it even more interesting, having a relationship with God. Because like, this is real now, because if things are still moving forward, it's definitely because of you. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how my relationship with God is anyways. Whereas like, and it's a beautiful thing, because God isn't then going to be like, oh, now you're an idiot because you made this mistake. He does not do that. He's like, now, come on now. We knew this, didn't we? And then you're like, okay, fine. You know what, God, I'm sorry. And then we go on and we go forward and we continue in that journey. That is like a relationship. Whereas over here in Scientology, they're all talking about, oh, and I remember, guys, I read, this was in one of my videos, in the Scientology videos. I can't remember which one. And I was explaining about how they get to a certain point where if you start to get to like a plateau, like you're not seeing improvements. And what do we do in that regard? What do we do in the situation where you're no longer improving, right? Or you're feeling like you haven't really had a change, or it's not really hitting for you anymore, right? What do you do? Their thing is, oh, something's wrong with you then. You need to do more therapy or auditing. You need to do more this. You need to do more that. You need to do more that, right? And let's look at this from two perspectives. Let's split this into two perspectives. Let's look at this as if that were true. If that was true, that you had to do all those things, then the only way that's true then proves exactly what I'm saying about God, which is that we will never get everything right on our own. And so if we continue to do things on our own, we're only ever going to be going into this pursuit of nothingness, of knowledge, never having arrived at anything helpful or valuable, right? So that's already pointing still back to God, even if they're right. Right? Sometimes the things they say, certain things, I'm like, you're right. People do need to remove the things that are restricting them from who God called them to be, from God who lives inside them and who will guide them into being the best version of themselves that they can't even imagine. Right? But then let's look at the Scientology thing as if it's not true. If it's not true, then people are just literally being sold a lie about how there's something more than you, so that these people can just continue to make money, get mind control, expand a huge business worldwide, have control and influence on a lot of people in the world. Because this is what I think about, guys, right now. I think about like how I think about this for my channel as well, because obviously I've got a channel, I've got like 500 and something subscribers. Shout out to everyone on the winning team. Shout out to the winning team. Love you guys so much. You guys know that already. If I think about impact, is what I'm saying. I think about how the numbers of places and how it reacts, how it relates. Because think about this, guys. Think about this. These are the things that I'd be watching, and this is how it leads to the Lord speaking to me about stuff, right? So I'll watch something like the Sidemen charity match, right? The Sidemen charity football match, which I watched last year, and this year I watched it as well. I'm watching this, and what I'm paying attention to the amount of money that was raised. The amount of money that was raised, right? And I'm realizing that these guys have raised so much money based on the level of influence. Because think about how many times do many people gather together to make money? And how much did they make this year again? I can't remember. Was it like, I can't remember how much it was. I've forgotten how much it was. But they smashed their initial goal before the match even started. And this is just some YouTubers, right? So think about how much, and this is people watching somebody online, following or listening to what they're doing. That's the power of influence, ladies and gentlemen. That's why when somebody is mind controlling, so I'm thinking, if you've got Scientology that's got however many hundreds of millions all over the globe who are all following the same one thing, the same one man, the same one thing, this is like the greatest factory of all time. Like, do you know what I'm saying? This is the most insane insanity that I'm actually seeing in existence, that just seems to be so intelligent. Like, this is the most intelligent religion I have seen. I have to give it to Scientology for being the most intelligent religion I've ever seen in my life. Because they have found every single loophole. This is how you know it's Satan, guys, because this is what Satan does. This is what the devil does. The devil is the one who understands law. He understands contracts, 1 billion year contract. He understands law and he understands contracts. So when you are getting involved in this, when you are making covenantal agreements with them, when you are doing this, he knows how he created the loopholes. You know why? It's always these freaking predatorial rich dudes that are paying all this towards the lawyers. What are they paying for? What have they got all their money for? What do they need that money for? The loopholes. So they can continue to be these heinous predators roaming the earth while other people are going to jail just trying to make it in life, just trying to get out of the place that they live from, right? This is exactly what I'm saying. The devil is the perfecter of loopholes. And I'm using this as an example to say that this is how evil does things. All these loopholes, we're a religion of religions. You don't stand on nothing. There's nothing that they stand on. There's no boundary. It is literally Satanism. Like the only scripture from Satan, which is do what thou wilt, do whatever you want. It's the same thing, but then it's even worse because they're not even going to let you do whatever you want. They're going to make you think that that's what you're going to have, but actually they're going to control everything you want, control what you do, and influence you. Insane. But then this is the thing that people are falling into. Why? Because the enemy obviously knows how to get to us at our desperation. What is it every single time that the devil tries to take over humanity? It's always money, power, fame, right? Something that we want, a deal. If we can get a deal of something, then we're prepared to, do you see what I'm saying? And that's the significance of Jesus being tempted 3 times. So that he can say he didn't flop, he didn't fumble the bag at that attempt of the devil with the money, power, and fame. He didn't. He did not fumble the bag. He hadn't eaten 40 days, 40 nights. And then the devil comes to him as the most desperate, because that's how the kingdom of darkness works. And that's my other thing with Scientology. I don't like things that take you at your most vulnerable and immediately tell you that they are the everything of all everything that you ever needed. Because God also isn't like that, you know. God is very measured and like he meets you at your point. He takes you step by step, bit by bit, and he allows you to explore. He allows you to criticize. He allows you time to be angry with him or to disagree with him. And he allows you to do everything. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about you, Scientology. Like, I do not know how I feel. I feel like it's Satanism. I feel like it's mind control. Because you see, the thing is, guys, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. God is a gentleman. God is a gentleman. God is a gentleman. He will never cross your boundary. He doesn't cross your boundary. He never crosses your boundary. The only thing that God might do where you'll feel like he's crossed your boundary is that he'll cross into a boundary you didn't know you were ready for. But you were ready for him to cross into that boundary. But you know what I'm saying? But he won't cross your boundaries, basically, is what I'm saying. He will not. That's the thing about God. That's why you can't mess around with God. He reminds me of, like, you know, proper gentlemen men are exactly like that. Like, they're not going to waste time. Like, they're not going to waste, like, it's great. I love it. This is why I say God's a gentleman, right? God is a gentleman, and he's not going to cross your boundaries for nothing. Like, if you're saying no and you said no, then no. Do you know what I'm saying? But do not say that I didn't say this is all here for you. I'm ready for you. Please come in. You know, it's up to you. I will not cross your boundary. I will not go further than whatever. I will leave it there. Which is why we have to give permission to God. We give permission to God in our lives. When I'm praying to God, it's that he already wants to do the good thing, but he's waiting for me to give him permission. Like, please give me permission because I'm a gentleman. I'm not going to enforce these changes upon you, right? It's not going to be fun maybe, but like, and so I'm like, God, please change me. And then here we are, where you go for all these things with God. But it's amazing because he's allowing you to do that. It's a relationship. And then, like I'm saying, and that's how it is with the kingdom of darkness, with things like Scientology, with like the devil. He is a predator, Predators prey on their prey. Isn't that how you say it? Is that how you say it? Do they prey on their prey? They are waiting. They are watching to pounce at your moment, right, of weakness, to take advantage of you. And they will come into your space. They don't care what you were doing. They don't care what's going on in your life. They don't care that you're trying to get to know God even. How about that? They are here for what they want. And they want to control you because you are the most powerful vessel that God has placed on earth, because he put his image inside of you and he put his spirit inside of you. And therefore they need you. We, the humans, are the vessels. That's why it's so interesting that this stuff happens. That's why, guys, people are obsessed with controlling humans, because whether it's in science, whether it's in the Bible, there is an understanding that having control of masses of humans, or having control of humans, is an asset. A massive asset to have. Therefore, the more we can have of those and the more well-trained they are, the more powerful force that we can use. Right now, in the kingdom of darkness, that's through slavery. In the kingdom of heaven, that's called having a relationship with God. That's called living a life as a disciple of Christ. That's called being in the school and the counsel and the teaching of the Holy Spirit. Right? You go through life and you make your mistakes, you have your own free will, your free rights, and that's how, you build that with God, right? And it's a completely different thing. It's your free will, and then you come out on top. You're not being controlled. If you're doing something, it's because you chose to do it. So I told you guys that I will not catch me being one of these Christians who says stuff like, I'm not going to do this because the Bible. No. God has taught me in wisdom that I can do that. I can do anything. Do you guys know, sometimes I be doing such stupid things, right? I'll do this. I swear down I do this. I will literally do something I know I shouldn't do just to remind myself I can still do what I don't want to do. What I shouldn't do. Isn't that so stupid as well, guys? But listen, I'm a scientist. This is what I'm saying. God lets me just live unsupervised in the world. I'm like, God, I'm going to just test it. I'm like, I still can do it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm not under control. My life is my choice. I'm on this YouTube channel making this video because I was just so overwhelmed with all these thoughts I was having by choice, by absolute choice, by choice. God doesn't, not by force that I'm on here. God is not begging me. God even just told me to start YouTube. He's like, just say whatever you want to say. He's like, don't even get out of my face asking what you should be posting. Just say whatever you got to say. Like, just please go and post your videos. Like, just go talk to the people. And so I was like, cool. You know what I'm saying? And then here I am. And that's because that's God. That's God. And imagine that. And I think about that. And I think if it's true that what people say, about, if the impact I've had on other people's lives, that means that for sure is fraudulent, because I am so far away from what that is over there. Scientology, any other religion, to be honest, Islam, even Catholicism, a lot of these religions today. I'm so sorry to say it. Scientology being the worst. I'm not sorry to say, I'm proud to say it. I'm so glad to be over here. And that's my argument for God versus Scientology. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, the easiest way to know which is better, like, which lifestyle looks more, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So I just feel happy over here. Sorry, I'm just happy. I'm, when you're a daughter of the King, when you're a daughter of God, it's just a great time. No, but seriously, though, guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. That's just what I have to say in it. I know this is like such a deep one, but I had to just get it off my chest. I just had to get it off my chest. What can I say? Anyways, God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.